Guys, welcome back to the NRL Fantasy Scouts YouTube channel. It's Artemis here, and today I'll be going through my first team draft. Now, unfortunately, Sirhan was supposed to be joining me and doing his team reveal too, but the moment he landed from his Europe holiday, he's gone straight back to work, and he's still trying to get into the swing of things. So hopefully he can do a video of his team draft soon, but if he can't, we'll be doing a final video just before round one starts with all our final teams. But we'll have a look at my team. So for the moment, I'm pretty much set on a few positions, being my mids and edges. I'll discuss them later on, but my centers and wing fullbacks, I keep chopping and changing. I also don't have as many pods as I would have liked, and I'm still trying to think about it and see which pods I can include. One which I'll talk about briefly is Stefano. But yeah, so we'll have a look. We'll look at my centers first, and then we'll go to wing fullbacks because there's a certain player that will determine how my centers and my wing fullbacks look like, and that's Herbie. So at the moment, I'm trying to find a way to have him in my team, but if I do, I'll have to go pretty light on my wing fullbacks. So if I don't have Herbie in my team, I'll definitely be having Carraz, and I've actually had him in my team up until a few hours ago. I was playing around with it and I decided to bring in Herbie instead. Um, I did have a draft with Herbie and Carraz as both my centers, but I would only have Farlogo as my wing fullbacks, well, my main wing fullback, and I'll have to have two cheapies and another cheapie on the bench, which you can see is Farley. So I don't want that at all. So I've gone with Farnworth, and my second center is Penasini, but I'm not 100% sold on him. I know that with Moses in the team, he averages quite well, but when he's out of the team, it's a different story. And I think it was back end of last season, he was averaging around 38. So there is some value there, but I'm not 100% convinced. But we'll have a look at the wing fullbacks. So Falogo, as I mentioned, he's my starter. Um, the fullback position is his, and it's his to lose really. He's had a whole preseason there, and when he played fullback in 2024, he had a few decent scores as well. I know he was playing on the wing last year, but I'm hoping he has a big season this year. The next player I've got is Chester, who should be starting in that center position for the Cowboys. He should get that center position after the first update. I think it's round 7. Um, but he doesn't really need to score highly to rise in price since he's pretty much like the cheapest, almost the cheapest you can get, 250. So he's another one. I know there's an injury concern, but he should be good for round 1. I hope he is as well. The next one I've got is Brian Tor, and he's another one I'm not 100% convinced on. He had a poor fantasy season, as did some of the majority of the Penrith boys, which I'll talk later on. But I am expecting to have a better season. I'm just worried about his inconsistency. He had that a lot last year. I know at the back end he was actually putting up a lot of 40, 50 scores, which was good. But beginning of the season, there was a lot of teens, 20s, 30s. So I'm not sure. I know Penrith's fixtures as well at the beginning. They're not the easiest. So I'm still tossing up whether I should have him. I've got Farley on the bench as well. But I've got him as a placeholder for the moment. I know there's Macassini, who has the bye round 1. He might not even get, well, he might not start in round 2. So it won't be good if I pick him same as everyone else for round 1, and then we find out he's not starting. So for the moment, I'll just wait and see who I'll go with. Now, have a look at the halves. So we actually have our halves podcast releasing early next week. So stay tuned for that. And we talk about quite a few players, break it up between premium, mid, and cheapies. And at the moment, I've got 3 halves in my team. The first is Cleary, and I'm pretty sure the rest of the boys, well, definitely Sandra and Connor have Cleary as well. We prefer him out of the big 3 compared to Haas and Cleary, purely because there's a couple of value points. Oh, sorry, there's a couple of points of value on offer. Um, but yeah, he's very consistent. There's not much more I need to say about him. But the next player I've got is Dewey. Um, I mentioned in the podcast I'm tossing up between him and Moses. It's just the only thing that's putting me off Dewey is that bye in round one, and that will force me to play Sanders, who's my third and final half. We talk about him as well, but we feel as though he'll be a slow cash maker. But he's definitely someone I want in my team. But I wouldn't want him to start because I don't think he'll be putting up high scores. I hope I'm proved wrong, and I hope that he becomes a player that is a consistent starter for my team. But I'm also considering two other halves, Katoa and Hughes, and I really like. I've come to the idea of Katoa. It's just I'm struggling to find a way to get him in. I prefer Katoa over Hughes, but if I was to have Katoa, mean I'll have to get rid of Farmworth. So, and there's actually we've posted a stat on the page on the Instagram page, a nice graph that Sandra put up. But Connor actually he was the one who mentioned the stat that Katoa averages higher with Farmworth in the team than when Farmworth isn't in the team. So that's something to think about as well with Katoa. But I think I'm going to go with the three halves. I know Dylan Brown is another option. Um, I know this week Sandon Smith was starting the seven, Sharp was in the six. So I want to see to the round two trial games, see what the lineup is, make a decision from there whether I'll have a fourth half, and that possibly be Dylan Brown or Katoa. So we'll see. Now, with my edges, I've got Fafita and Catchman as my starting. We've spoken a lot about the edges. We've released podcast edges and mids, so I'm not going to go into too much detail. Give a lot of stats. If you want to hear about that, just have a look at the podcast. But Fafita, he's a must-have. There's a lot of value there. Same as Couchman. His PPM is ridiculous, and I'm actually considering captaining him round one as well. Uh, Playing in Vegas with that smaller field, he's a tackling machine, so it should work well in his favour. And on the bench, I've gone. I've got three edges. I've got McEwen, Lusardi, and Paxton. McEwen should play 80 minutes. He should get that vacant spot. I think it's all but confirmed. And when he played last year, he was averaging quite well. So there is a decent amount of value on offer there. With Lusardi and Paxton, they're very cheap, and they should be getting. I know Lusardi should get that starting edge spot, minimum 50 minutes, even 60. Paxton as well. He's getting a decent amount of minutes too with the injuries with Jolliffe. So they're both definitely my team. A lot of value there. I might be looking to offload McEwen. Not 100% sure yet. I might either get, as I mentioned before, I might go with four halves or get an extra center or wing fullback because I've only got one cheapie on the bench as a replacement. But another player I'm actually keeping an eye on is Lukey. I know he's starting this week in the trial game. If he does get that starting role, he's in my team, no question about that. Probably switch him out if I'm going to have five edges, which I have at the moment. I'll switch him out for McEwen, most likely. He has had a lot of injuries, so we do expect him to be eased into the team. But historically, because he didn't play last year, the year before that, when he plays 60 minutes, he averages between 45 to 50 points, meaning an easy 15 points of value there. So he's definitely, well, he will be in my team at 300k if he's starting. Now with the mids, I've gone with Yo, Tino, and Mooney as my starting. I really want Haas, but can't afford him. I've avoided Haas and May. May, we've heard that he's going to be getting less minutes than what he did last year. Haas is just too expensive, and he's priced at, I think it's like 73 or 74. And between Haas and Cleary, I feel there's more value with Cleary. But Haas is 60% owned. So if he has another big season like he did last year, then we're all stuffed. And by all, I mean the fantasy boys, or the scout boys, because we don't have him. Um, so I don't know about Sohan. We haven't really, he hasn't really given us any clues or hints as to who he's got. So we'll see if he has him. But I've gone with Yo. Pretty sure the other two boys have as well. Um, he averaged, I think it was his lowest since 2021. So definitely expecting a bounce back from him. Um, and when he plays more than 70 minutes, he averages 62. So being priced at 58, it's 4 points above what he's priced at. And I don't really see him staying at that price for too long. I think it's just going to get higher and reach the sort of price range he was when he was at his peak. Tino, I've got him. He's moving to prop this year. Should get 65 minutes with Jolliffe out. Again, there's a few points of value on offer when he plays. I think when he averages, or when he plays 60 minutes, he averages 60. So Mooney, I believe he's a must-have in everyone's team, and I think he's got 40% ownership, or maybe a bit higher. He should see around 50, 55 minutes, and his PPM as well is a bit like Couchman. It's ridiculous. So definitely a lot of value there. Um, yeah, like I said, I'm not going to go into specifics about stats and stuff. Check out our podcast for the mids. But Stewart and Colquhoun, I've got as my other mids. They both have a lot of value on offer. Stewart should be starting at lock, and he averages around 50 points when he does, and he's priced at 34. So Colquhoun, I've got him for the moment. Um, he's not 100% penciled in my team yet. I know McInnes is out. There's different time frames we've been given, but I believe he will be out for probably the first 10 games. So he should get a decent amount of minutes, and he averages, I think, 36 when playing 30 minutes or more. So there is a few points of value on offer, but ideally I would like to have another mid um, that will be high scoring. Someone like Stefano as a pod, because I mentioned earlier I don't have many pods in my team at all. So I've grown to the idea of having Stefano. I think he will get more minutes with Nelson leaving, and he had a pretty good end at the back end of last season. But I'm just playing around with my team at the moment, see if I can fit him in somehow. But yeah, and with my hookers, I've gone with two cheapies, Haywood and Smith. I'm not really a fan of the premium options apart from Grant, but I feel as though Haywood and Smith are better value options. I have been giving Marnie quite a bit of thought. I'm just concerned about his minutes. I don't know if he'll be getting 80 minutes. If he does, then I will probably have him in my team. But if he's not getting the 80 minutes, he's got quite a few demerits in him. He loves to give away a few penalties, missed tackles. So, not 100% sure if I'll have him if he does play 60 minutes. But if I do, I'll probably take out Haywood. Pretty set on Smith. Um, but yeah, that's pretty much that's pretty much it for my first team draft. Um, I've got a lot of things to consider, especially with the center and the wing fullback positions, and trying to have some pod players as well. But like I've said earlier, pretty sure a couple days before round one or the week before round one, we'll all be doing a final team review, So make sure you stay tuned for that. Hopefully Sirhan will be able to release his first draft, so you guys can get an idea of what Sirhan's thinking of doing too. But yeah, that's it for my team. Thanks for watching. We do have the half podcast being released, I think Monday or Tuesday. So keep an eye on that. And then we'll also have our center and our wing fullback podcast dropping as well. So make sure you stay tuned for that. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you guys soon.